Hi YouTube. It's been more than a year since my first video. And I remember I documented my first ever freeway ride on a motorcycle. I was picking something up at the BMW Burbank dealership that day, and I just decided to get a GoPro and take a video of my ride. Before I even decided to go on it, I've watched freeway videos, lane splitting do's and don'ts here in California, and fresh from safety program school, I was raring to put all that I have learned in mind. I can say it has been an eventful year as far as learning. Even though I rarely ride my bike compared to a lot of you who maybe ride to commute to and from work, or just simply crazy in love with your hobby, you cannot wait to ride it every single day. But I personally have drawn many lessons, one of the important ones of which is riding in the freeways. I have ridden only as far as Northern California, the Big Sur, beautiful Santa Barbara, to explore more scenic routes in the south, as far as San Diego and Palm Springs, Arizona, those places in the east as well. I have gone through various road and weather conditions, tagging along Jared and his friends in canyons, and encountering glorious twisties and sights and sounds of wildlife and scenery you can only experience open air. Just you, your bike, and Mother Nature. You, your bike, Mother Nature. I think that is also why I decided to create a YouTube channel. Share the experience of me in my bike and just our awesome Mother Nature. Now, I have to say, I was a driver first, long before I get to call myself a rider. As a driver, I have the instincts of a driver, how to avoid objects, pedestrians, and other vehicles that can create a danger for me and them, and also the ability to respond in tenths of a second of incoming threats to my safety and everyone else inside the car, to scan every detail in both the immediate surrounding and my periphery, as well as far as the eye can see. That is driving skill. Some may want to expound more and call it defensive driving. It is a skill that won't develop the moment you learn to drive. It is developed after years of trial and error, accidents and collisions, and studying other drivers, both as a driver and a passenger. That is why I know how drivers may view riders. Some may view riders as showboats, cocky. Some may view them as race competitors even. A lot of drivers I know respect riders and show that on the road by gestures we may all have been familiar with. Still, a lot of drivers are scared of motorcyclists, those that just comes out of nowhere and afraid of liabilities that may happen because they look so vulnerable. If they get really close, they are scared of hitting, maybe killing rider, or scared of getting hit themselves. I have seen drivers not show any respect to riders when they pass. Either they accelerate and they narrow the path riders will cross for them to pass, making sure there won't be enough space for them to get through. Although I have seen a lot, and I for one does this, that when I see or hear a motorcycle behind me, I widen the path and make sure they pass safely. I mean, I have been doing that even before I was riding. I think that's just practical courtesy. You don't want to get into trouble. Motorcyclists simply do not take up a lot of space. And let's admit it, in the rush hour race when everyone rushes to get home, motorcyclists get there earlier. Fortunately, in California, we are allowed to lane split. As riders, responsibility rests on each of us to do that safely and courteously. I mean, drivers may interpret our behavior on the road quite differently. I have this habit of standing up on the pegs when riding for a long while. Maybe my seat makes my butt hurts, and then I stretch my legs and stand on the pegs. Everyone may have done that, right? Drivers may see that and think you're showboating and getting all cocky in your bike in the freeway. But hey, I'm saying you can do that. Maybe not follow it up with a wheelie or go speeding or maybe go crazy and zigzag all over the place, and that's showboating. You know what I mean? As far as lane splitting, always consider both the mindset of the driver and the rider when passing through. I am not an authority on this. Let me get that straight. I have yet a long way to go and a lot of things to learn as a rider, but as a driver, I think I have seen my fair share of lessons on what and what not to do on the road and just simple and smart plain old road courtesy. It would always depend on traffic conditions, but personally, I have noticed that on freeways, when traffic speed fall below 30 miles an hour, I scan and evaluate the conditions, then prepare to make a safe lane split. I can go as fast as 50 or 60 miles per hour, again, depending on traffic conditions, if that would allow me. I am particularly watchful of these things. Number one, the vehicles before me, obviously. Second one, the other more experienced motorcycle riders behind me who may have lane split as well, and I do not want to be on their way. First, the vehicles before me. Questions I'd ask in split seconds run the gamut from, can I pass through these two cars? I am particularly careful with trucks and big rigs and those carrying a whole bunch of loads that may collide with my handlebar, my mirrors, or any part of my bike and may cause a collision. Can these drivers see me or maybe hear me coming at this speed from behind? Because if they don't, I make sure they would. Are there openings enough for cars to make fast lane changes? Particularly watchful of those front wheels turning into certain directions. Those are scans I would make in split seconds, and reactions are made in those times as well. I have been taught when reacting to those conditions not to grab the brakes, but to make certain it's a quick, gradual squeeze followed by a firm one. Second, the motorcycle riders and all the other vehicles behind me. It's always safe to assume riders lane speeding behind me are more experienced. Maybe it's their daily commute or simply more skillful in this environment. I make a safe and visible gesture to make way for these riders. Or maybe someone passing another vehicle behind you from the right and start making a quick lane change to the left. I always assume these vehicles from my mirror don't see me, so I create a visible space for them as well. Of course, being smart doesn't mean you have to let everyone pass and have their way for the sake of so-called courtesy. You can be courteous and smart at the same time without endangering yourself and all the others around you. Lastly, just be extra alert with eyes scanning the entire time and be gracious. I was taught at safety class, it's not personal. Everyone on the road has a destination. They all need to reach at certain times. Be kind and just be thankful when you reach your destination safely. Do not have a perfect society. There's still a lot of assholes out there, and maybe drivers that do not appreciate, respect, or maybe just do not understand motorcyclists. But be better and just ride your ride. Understand that it is more important to reach your destination safely, ensuring more years to enjoy yourself, your bike, and Mother Nature as intended. So have a safe ride, and thank you for watching.
Woo! Yay! Put your Hoochies! Hoochie, hoochie!